Chapters 10 and 11 go deeper into interviewing. One topic covered is the issue of interview styles. You may encounter many different kinds of interviews in your job search. We tend to think of interviews as two people sitting down together in the same office and having a conversation, and that's what happens lots of times. But the reality is that an interview can be over the phone or using the computer. It can involve multiple people. There are all kinds of things that can happen in terms of interviews. I recently had a former student email me to tell me that she had just been hired after 2 telephone interviews. More and more companies are doing phone interviewing, and many are doing over the computer interviewing. Some are Skyping, but after the initial interview, especially the interview can take lots of different forms. Another trend is for the interview process to take longer than people anticipate. You might be interviewed 3 times, either by the same person or by different people, before a firm makes you an offer. Patience is obviously important in this hiring environment. Companies are very reluctant to hire too quickly because hiring and training someone can be expensive, and they don't want to invest in people and have them not work out very quickly or leave the job quickly. You might also be surprised at the number of people in the room during some interviews. One former student went for an interview for a position as church secretary, and she told me that she expected that she might be sitting down with the pastor and maybe a few members of the personnel committee, but she was ushered into a room with a long conference table and about 10 to 12 men in suits sitting around the conference table. She was interviewed by the entire deacon board, and nobody had warned her about this. Our book does talk about this, and it is called the panel interview in the book. She said that it scared her at first, but when they began to ask her questions, she realized that they were the same questions she had practiced and that I had asked in the mock interview, and that realization helped her to calm down and think. Another interview type is the team interview. In a team interview, more than one person interviews you, but you talk to each person separately. Usually one person talks to you, and then that person sort of hands you off to the next person, and so on. This happened to me once when I was doing an interview. Our book talks about something called the stress interview. People who are subjected to a stress interview are questioned in a manner that is often cold or even hostile. And this may happen to you if you're applying for a customer service position or a job at a call center. In those situations, you're calling people who don't necessarily want to hear from you, or people are calling you because their computer, phones, appliance, software, whatever, isn't functioning correctly, and they're often in a state of rage by the time they get you on the phone. And it takes a special person to put up with this kind of verbal abuse every day and to help people calm down. I remember calling a helpline once when I was just irate over something. I do not remember what it was. And I promise you I was not verbally abusive, but I was not happy, and I'm sure it was evident. The woman on the other end of the phone had such a pleasant manner and such a calming voice that within a few seconds I was much calmer, however, as I explained what was wrong. Finding that person with the calm voice and the pleasant manner is the reason for the stress interview. They want to see how you perform under pressure. If you're easily rattled, they don't want to hire you. Don't take it personally then if you find yourself in this type of interview, and you need to ask yourself, if you're easily rattled, are you the person who's suited for that kind of work? People who work in customer service positions have a high rate of burnout, and yet some people are suited to that kind of work and see it as a way to help people. So you need to decide based on how you perform in that stress interview, do I really want to do this? Our textbook also talks about the behavioral interview, and I think that every interview contains behavioral questions. It makes perfect sense to do that because, as Dr. Phil says, the best predictor of future behavior is past behavior. Interviewers will often ask questions such as, tell me about a time that you handled a difficult situation. Be ready to tell a story about yourself. As human beings, we are hardwired to want to hear stories. Stories are memorable, and telling them will make us memorable interviewees. Be careful, however, that you do not make negative statements about former employers. Talk about dealing with difficult customers, clients, and patients. Do not use names and do not include any information that might make that person identifiable, but tell what the situation was, what you did, and what the outcome was. You can also talk about difficult situations with coworkers, but again, be careful you do not make the person identifiable with your details. Situations that required you to go beyond what might reasonably be expected of the job, or situations that you handle with creativity and resourcefulness are also good. Prepare for the interview in other ways. Go through your portfolio and make sure that every item is appropriate for that position or company. Look for the job description and think about how you might talk about the details listed as required. Remember that you have to talk about yourself in order to get the job. Go prepared to talk about the company and about why you want to work there. Search the website for things that appeal to you about the company. Look for a mission statement, a set of company goals, a code of ethics, or information about how the company contributes to the community. Go prepared to talk about how those things are admirable, or how they are consistent with your own goals or belief system or attitude about giving back to the community. Many employers now require skills testing. If proficiency in Microsoft Word, Excel, and PowerPoint are mentioned in the job description, and if it has been a while since you've used one or more of these programs, it might be useful for you to pull out your old textbook and do some reviewing. Human Resources departments usually tell interviewees in advance whether these tests will be administered at the time of the interview. Usually, however, people are tested only after they have passed an initial screening, and often they'll be brought back for the skills testing. Personality testing is sometimes part of the interview process. Research has shown that although we tend to hire people like ourselves, a mix of personality types is usually an advantage in the workplace. Every organization needs a mix of detail-oriented people and big-picture types. Usually there are no right or wrong answers to these personality test questions. Just answer truthfully. Always follow up every interview with a self-evaluation. Ask yourself what went well and what could have gone better. It's also imperative that you write a thank you note to every person who interviewed you. Call the Human Resources office or your contact person with the company if you need to check for names. Be sure that you spell each person's name correctly. Proofread your follow-up letter carefully before you send it. Following up with a note or letter is one of the most important actions you can take to set yourself apart from other interviewees, because many people do not follow up. Do it as soon as after the interview as possible. Also follow up with your support network. If someone helped you get that interview, be sure to write a thank you note to that person as well. Thanking people who help you in any way, such as proofreading your documents, giving advice, introducing you to helpful people, providing a letter of reference, and so on, is very important. One Fortune 500 CEO says that he writes a thank you note every working day to someone who has helped him with something. Gratitude is unbelievably powerful. Practice it.